Hi guys and welcome to my channel KRCHIsports. My name is Casper Rodgwell and today I'll be bringing you guys a 2025 NHL mock offseason for the Chicago Blackhawks. To start off, I want to thank Puckpedia because I used it for almost this entire video. I was heavily reliant on that website and it's a great one. Um, they've done a fantastic, not sponsored by the way, I wish I was sponsored. They're freaking awesome, but um, I've done a fantastic job ever since Cap Friendly, became Caps Friendly. But I just wanted to offer a huge shout out because I think they deserve it. But anyway, to just offer a quick overview, the Blackhawks have two first round picks and two second round picks in the 2025 NHL draft, and they own their number 3 and number 34 overall picks, as well as the number 25 and the number 60 overall selections, acquired at the 2023 NHL trade deadline with trades of the Toronto Maple Leafs and Dallas Stars. Before I get into this video more, I'd like to preface that all of this stuff is very hypothetical and should not be taken too to heart because stuff like this is just way too hard to predict, right? Like off seasons, no one knows even as much insider information as anyone has, even like Elliot Friedman. No one knows at the end of the day what these GMs are thinking, especially Kyle Davidson. Um, he's got somewhat of a pattern, but this is a new step that we thought they would take last year, but they really didn't end up taking it. So, got to kind of make a splash this offseason, in my opinion. So, some stuff that's more realistic, and then some stuff is a little less realistic in here. But basically, yeah. So this year's draft is very top heavy with names like Matt Schaefer, Michael Misa, James Higgins, Porter Martone, and Anton Frondale all rounding out the top scouts, top 5 lists for the most part. And then while last year's draft saw speculation mostly surrounding top prospects in Ivan Demidov and Artem Levshunov, with Artem Levshunov eventually being the second overall pick by the Chicago Blackhawks, they seem to have more routes to go down this year. Um, Will they go with the big skilled winger in Porter Martone or the high offensive IQ with some two-way play center and Michael Misa? Um, that's the big question, I think. I think it's kind of between them, but I've heard rumblings about, Caleb Denoyer or Anton Frondel possibly being intriguing for Kyle Davidson and the scouting department. But before we get there, I have a trade to announce. With the first move in the 2025 Blackhawks mock off season, the Blackhawks trade number 3 overall, number 34 overall, and number 107 overall to the San Jose Sharks in return for number 2 overall. With this trade, I have the Blackhawks selecting Michael Misa, a 6'1", 182-pound center from the Saginaw Spirit. In 65 games with the OHL Saginaw Spirit, Misa put up 62 goals and 72 assists for a staggering 134 points. With his excellent offensive play as well as a solid two-way presence, I believe Misa has the tools to be the Hawks' number 2 center of the future. That leads us to number 60 overall, which if you notice, we traded number 34, but we never mentioned anything about number 25, so we'll round back to that later. You guys will see what I'm talking about. But that leads us to the 60th overall pick, where I have the Blackhawks selecting center Mason West from Adena High School and the USHL's Fargo Force. West is a very intriguing prospect. At the moment, he's getting projected from landing in the second to fourth round to possibly now being a first round pick. Although saying he's committed to playing hockey, West plans to play this upcoming football season for Adena High as their quarterback, leaving many wondering if he will change his mind. I personally believe that this is a risk Kyle Davidson should take, and I think he might, just because we need centers and we need some size. The past few drafts, besides Sasha Boisvert and Merrick Van Acker, which he's a winger, but Boisvert is a center, so we will see what that brings in the upcoming few years. He's got some promise, that's for sure. But I believe that his size and skill, the combination of those two, is just worth the risk. Because you look around the lineup, you have 5'10 Connor Bedard, 5'10 Frank Nazar, 5'11 Oliver Moore. It's just we need some size, and it's not all about size. It's about how you use that size too. But At 6'6", you're a bowling ball. Like, you don't even have to be trying to play physically at that size. It kind of just comes natural to you. So if he develops into that and he doesn't end up choosing football, this could be a massive boom and a massive value for the Blackhawks. But that's only if that happens. Also, we don't know if he's going to be a first round pick. We don't know if he's going to be available at 60th overall. Maybe he is. That's why I think they should draft him there if he is. Now let's switch over to free agency. This year, the Blackhawks have a little over $29 million in cap space. And first and foremost, the most important thing, good riddance. We're buying out TJ Brody, which will reduce his cap hit to $258,333 over the course of the next 2 seasons and saves him a chunk of change next season. And then the $258,333 will go against the cap 2 seasons from now, which I don't think is that big of a deal considering how poorly TJ Brody played this season. Um, yeah, he was just awful the entire season. There would be like a game or two where you would be like, "Oh, is he stringing it together?" No, no, he wasn't. Which sucks because he used to be a great player back in the day, but Father Time catches up with everyone. But for the first signing of my 2025 mock Blackhawks offseason, I am signing forward Nikolai Ehlers to an $8.3 million contract for 5 seasons. I think Nikolai Ehlers would be a perfect signing for the Blackhawks with his veteran presence. He's a speedy offensive player with quick instincts, and he slots in just very well in that top six as a top six winger for the Blackhawks. With 63 points in 69 games, obviously he didn't play the entire season. He was dealing with some injury stuff. But Nikolai Ehlers, 5 years, $8.3 million a year. Sounds a little steep at first, but honestly, anywhere from $7 to $9 million a year is really where he's going to land for that kind of production, especially with the cap going up the next few years. But with these kind of like close to 30 guys, like he is, he's 28. I don't really want to give him term, so you kind of have to sacrifice something. So having a slight boost in salary is fine. If it's only gonna be 5 years, it's gonna be perfect. That only leads him to what, 33? No harm, no foul, right? Like I don't want a 7-year contract leads him to 35, which like 35-year-old could still be very effective. You look at Sidney Crosby, he's a million years old. So is Alex Ovechkin, and they're amazing still. But you don't want it to become an issue against the cap, even if it's rising. For my next signing, I'm signing Dante Fabro to a $3.8 million contract for the next 2 seasons. He's a veteran presence he's still pretty young. He's like around 26. He put up 26 points in 62 games last season with a plus 23. He's just a very smart player, two-way kind of guy. I think he would fit very well in Jeff Blashill's kind of not. It's kind of like an in between of from what I understand, an in between from Anders Sorensen and Luke Richardson. Not too defensive, not too offensive, and I feel like he would fit perfectly because of those traits on both sides of the ice. And for my big splash move of the off season, this when I talk about hypotheticals, this is the most hypothetical because how realistic is this? I don't really know. But I have the Chicago Blackhawks somehow, some way. Let's say the Minnesota Wild didn't come to an agreement. They acquire Kirill Kaprizov for the 2025 25th overall pick. Remember, I mentioned that earlier, and a 2027 unprotected first round pick, as well as defensive Ethan Del Mastro. Del Mastro, don't get me wrong, great potential in that player. Big size, big guy, got some skill on both sides of the puck. He's just in an unfortunate situation here. There's just too many guys like him. There's just young and in this D group, and you can't have two you've got to get rid of somebody eventually, and he's the scapegoat here. But for Kirill Kaprizov, you give up anybody besides Bedard and Nazar and maybe Levshunov. Let's be for real. But I have Kirill Kaprizov signing a 7-year, $13.5 million extension. I believe he's also 28, which that would bring him around 35 as well. Maybe like a 2-year deal after that. I don't know how long he'll hold up because he only played 41 games last season. All these guys got some injury issues, but He put up 56 points in those 41 games. And yes, he's never played a full NHL season, but the one he got closest to, which basically was 81 games, he put up 108 points. He isn't just an offensive tool, he is the offense. And when you add him in with a guy like Bedard and a guy like Nazar, great things could happen. And like the addition of Ehlers too, like this would change everything, guys. But yeah, he's just a dynamic player, and it would be great for the Blackhawks if KD pulled this off. Oh my goodness. Um, they wouldn't make the playoffs yet, I don't think, but build the statue. But even with all these additions, I would still leave the Hawks with a little over $10.5 million in cap space for next season. So if they wanted to add more after this, then they could sure go ahead. But they do have that Bedard extension coming up. I didn't put it in uh, this episode just because I don't know if that gets done this year. Maybe it does. Maybe hopefully it's like a 8-year, $9.8 million. His favorite player is Sidney Crosby, so we'll see. But I don't know about that one. But basically, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you like this format. Um, this is my first video. I don't know if it's going to get 4 views or a few hundred. Hopefully it gets, I don't know. Hopefully it gets to the right people. Hope you guys enjoy it. But basically, on this channel, I'm going to be uploading Blackhawks stuff, Bear stuff. Those are my 2 teams that I really follow very closely. I'm a big Cubs and Bulls fan, but I don't know if I'll be posting too much stuff about them. Uh, the Bulls are just frustrating, so I kind of hate them sometimes. But the Cubs are really good this year, so we'll see. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.